see here. All right, we're live. So welcome back to DApp University. So today we've got a lot of updates to cover. This is Monday. A lot's happened since the last update that we did on Friday. So we got 3 days of exciting news to cover and some updates about what's happening in the Ethereum space and the crypto markets right now. Of course, the first big thing, we saw a big dip yesterday in crypto. Kind of talk about that, kind of what my thoughts are on the current situation. Had a bunch of really exciting news about Mark Cuban being bullish on Ethereum as a store of value over Bitcoin, and also on DeFi, everything that's happening in the Ethereum space. Of course, been talking about Cuban a little bit on this channel, but we got some really exciting stuff from Cuban to dive into. Another DeFi hack, actually 2 of them that I want to talk about today, give you some of my thoughts on those. Let's see here. Another opportunity to potentially earn free cryptocurrency. So stick around till the end of this video and we'll talk about that. And then also a way to use Apple Pay integrations for paying with cryptocurrency. So awesome. Before we get into all of that, if you're new around here, I'm Gregory. On this channel, I turn into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to master blockchain step by step from start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. All right, so we got a bunch of people in the chat here. Let's see here. Diogo, Floyd, Mohammed, Pebley, Junior, Floyd. Awesome. You guys hear me okay? I'll chill in the chat. You're going to crash the stream. That's awesome. So let's jump into this. The first thing I want to check on is basically kind of what's going on in the crypto markets right now. I'm sure a lot of people are wondering what my thoughts are on this. We saw a dip happen yesterday across pretty much everything. If you look at the Bitcoin charts, it just kind of knifed down really fast. Same thing with the ETH charts. But the good news is these dips were just gobbled up instantly. I think that's a pretty good indication of what the overall sentiment is on the market right now. I think people... I think very few, I think there's plenty of people who don't want this to be the top, aren't ready to cash out, take all their chips off the table and go home. So, I don't feel like, I feel good about this long term, simply because of the fact this was just absolutely gobbled up, right? Looking at other metrics, besides the charts, kind of looking at Glassnode a little bit. Where are we with like the Newport chart, right? We talked about this a little bit last week. We're not anywhere close to the euphoria phase, right? So I know this is not necessarily a 100% trustworthy metric, but I like looking at all different pieces of the puzzle to try to get an idea of, where we are with things. So again, it's not financial advice, not a big trader, not a big TA guy. I'm mostly just looking at the things that I'm personally invested in and telling you how I feel about them. I'm not too worried about this in the short term. I know this can be scary for people who just got in. Like maybe you bought some Bitcoin up here trying to like push at 50K and then you saw this big, red candle here. And that can kind of freak a lot of people out, but that's just part of the volatility. Happens when people are trading like crazy with leverage, there's just lots of reasons why. It's hard to know exactly what's going on with the market at any given point in time, but these dips, they're pretty common. More common than we would like. So one thing to know here that's, excuse me, I got something going with my voice here. One thing that's also really important to know here with Bitcoin, an important milestone that was crossed recently is Bitcoin's fully diluted valuation crossing $1 trillion. So it was a huge milestone for the crypto markets in general to cross $1 trillion market cap as an entire class, because that really just elevates the status of the entire market. So basically, excuse me. Sorry, buddy, just bear with me here. Market cap is the value of the entire cryptocurrency itself. So I'm talking about Bitcoin's market cap being, let's see here, 888 million. That means all the Bitcoin in the world's worth 888 million or billion. Sorry. I know my numbers here. I'm just struggling this morning. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, but I'm still pressing on and doing the show. I want to give you guys updates. So if I make some, mental errors up here, or if my voice is kind of not 100%, that's why. But I wanted to jump on and give you guys something anyway. So anyways, $888 billion is how much all the Bitcoin in the world is worth. So that's all the Bitcoin that's currently out there. But you can look at fully diluted valuation, which is basically if you took all the Bitcoin that have yet to be mined and mined them, and then also assuming that all the Bitcoin that's like, frozen in wallets isn't frozen, and that is just assuming that all the possible Bitcoin is liquid, it would be worth this much, which is 1 trillion, which, you're looking at fully diluted valuations versus current market caps, two different ways of valuing cryptocurrencies and mobile bull runs, stuff like that. So anyways, it's a huge milestone for Bitcoin to hit 1 trillion fully diluted valuation. So the next big milestone for Bitcoin will be hitting, of course, 50K, and then also that $1 trillion market cap. All right, so let's move on here. Let's talk about Mark Cuban. He's been kind of a topic of conversation on the channel recently, but something came out over the weekend or Friday. I think it was about when we were doing our last update. I think it may not have made the update, or it came out right after. But basically, Mark Cuban is becoming really bullish on Ethereum from lots of angles. And one thing I want to talk about in particular is how he's bullish on Ethereum as a store of value over Bitcoin. We've been talking about that some on the channel, recently too. We're testing the hypothesis whether cryptocurrencies are a good store of value or a better one than alternatives that we have right now, being a digital store of value. And we're seeing lots of votes of confidence in that direction, right? We're seeing that with Bitcoin. I've talked about Ethereum, how it could be a better store of value than Bitcoin. I made a video about that recently. You go check that out. Some of the reasons why are people talk about Bitcoin being a better store of value because it's, cap supply, all this kind of stuff. But Ethereum, basically has, inflationary mechanism built into it, but the inflation is predictable. Like it's fixed over time in terms of the amount of ETH printed. And so basically you can go check out those videos where I explain that in detail, but Cuban's on the exact same page, right? And this is really great validation to see because of course, Mark Cuban, billionaire, Shark Tank, quite a career, right? Good judgment. He's definitely an outsider from the space, but somebody who has good judgment can evaluate ideas and see the benefits of something like this. And so, that's huge. So, we talk about, we have Mark Cuban's DeFi wallet that we've seen on chain. He's an Aave holder. He's been doing yield farming. He made a video about SushiSwap a little while ago that I saw floating around as well. So somebody made a tweet talking about how Mark Cuban is Ethereum's Michael Saylor, which I thought was pretty funny. I don't have the tweet right in front of me. I can't remember who put that out there. If you guys know, you can link to the author and we'll give them credit in the chat or something like that. But maybe in Twitter, I don't know if YouTube chat lets you put links in there. But yeah, it's really funny because if you guys don't know, if you don't catch that joke, basically Michael Saylor is the one who swooped in last summer and started talking about MicroStrategy and how they bought some ridiculous amount of Bitcoin. I can't remember the number off the top of my head, but he's been a big Bitcoin evangelist, right? We had the Michael Saylor conference, I think it was last week, with a bunch of CEOs, or maybe not CEOs, but bunch of corporations represented there. Basically, he's sort of the guy who has been at the forefront of the companies putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet and all that kind of stuff. So people are drawing an analogy to Mark Cuban with Michael Saylor in this case, which I thought was pretty interesting. So some funny chats in here. I don't want to read them on screen. It's pretty awesome. Saylor loaded up on Bitcoin before he started talking about it. Yeah, that's kind of what tends to happen. People buy a lot, then they start talking about it publicly. It's usually not the other way around. Let's see here. That's also true when people start talking about altcoin gems on YouTube. But anyways, let's see here. Another DeFi hack that I want to talk about. So let's see here. Yeah, another DeFi hack that I want to talk about. There's actually two that happened since Friday, and only one do I have the details in front of me about. And it's, let's see here. I'm pulling up the detailed messages. It's Cream Finance. Okay. So this is another flash loan exploit. I know some people get kind of, picky about the wording here, hack versus exploit, all that kind of stuff. You typically say hack for a few reasons. One, uh, most people don't get the difference between a hack and an exploit. We're talking about just from a common understanding, right? So sometimes you just have to speak to people in a language they understand, even if it's not 100% accurate, it's just approximate, right? So I usually just call it a hack in that reason, for that way. Another reason I like to think about it as a hack is basically like, funds were taken that didn't belong to that person, so that also captures that connotation, which I know the exploit can too. But anyways, I don't want to get too far off in the weeds on that, but let's look at some of the details of this. Like I said, I for these particular exploits, I haven't been able to go through and look at each transaction individually. So I'm gonna take a look at this from a high level. I would have to read through a lot of the code to give you my detailed thoughts on it, but I can look at it from high level. I basically get what's happening. So basically, Iron Bank Cream was exploited for 37.5 million. All right, let's take a look at what happened. Attacker used Alpha Amora for borrowing SUSD from Iron Bank. Each time they borrow twice as much as from the previous one, so it's basically like a recursive pattern here. They do this with 2 transactions. They lend the funds. Okay. They took out a 1.8 million USDC flash loan from Aave and swapped it. Okay. So basically, there's just a complex set of instructions here, right? The actual steps aren't as important to know that they're just able to borrow a lot of money, create a huge pool of money, and then essentially exploit the protocol, and then walk off with funds that essentially didn't belong to them. And so, a couple reasons I want to keep highlighting these hacks are for 2 reasons. One is basically to talk about be careful with DeFi. Okay. I talk a lot in this channel about how DeFi is amazing, how I think it stands a really good chance at being the future of finance, or a really amazing alternative to what we have in finance, whether it completely replaces the financial system we have today or just becomes an amazing alternative. It's hard to say in the short term. But the state of it right now, you need to be careful, right? I definitely don't recommend people go put their life savings into DeFi, by any stretch of the imagination for this type of reason. Okay. You can get more advanced, you can get more sophisticated, you can buy insurance on your deposits with other DeFi protocols. Even that's still kind of risky because you have to trust that the insurance is going to work, or that it covers the exact reason your funds are not there anymore. So, I just want everybody to understand that 100%. Am I super optimistic on DeFi long term? 100%, but you have to be careful in the short term. So the other thing is talk about sort of the ethics of the flash loans. People want to talk about this all the time. Of course, you see one of the first comments here is, "Hear me out. Can we, shut this thing off?" And he's tagging, he's tagging basically Aave in this. So his response is basically what I would say. These attacks can be done without flash loans. Flash loans are actually helping protocols become more resilient, and most of the flash loans are consumed on good stuff such as DeFi saver, refinancing, and deleveraging tools. So that's part of what I say. I talk about some on the channel, which is I hate that flash loans are used to take money that doesn't belong to people. But the counter argument here is that people can do that without flash loans. And if we have flash loans and it's going to be human nature that people do this anyway, it makes DeFi more resilient because you ultimately don't know what you don't know. And the faster we learn about what we don't know, the more robust and resilient we can make DeFi. Because even if we take flash loans off the table, somebody could still come along with $100 million, exploit a protocol, and walk away with a profit. I mean, it's still risky. It's way riskier for someone to actually attempt a transaction with $100 million that might fail, right? And they could be out their money if it doesn't work properly. But I think it makes DeFi even more fragile if we just wait for somebody like that to come along. We trust it for long enough, and then something bad happens. That's just my take. Like I said, I have zero desire for these protocols to get exploited, but I think they're going to get exploited because it's just human nature. It's really tragic. It's really unfortunate, but there's nothing we can really do about that. So let me know what you all think down in the chat or the comments below. Alex Becker, Mo, am I buying any CryptoPunks? I did buy a hash mask. So I'll show you all my hash mask. So yeah, here's my hash mask that I got. And I'm currently looking for somebody who can do a really good job of printing this. So I had to get a large print of my hash mask and put it on my wall. So if anybody has any good solutions to that, somebody recommended Crypto Canvas here in the comment section. But yeah, they're kind of small, so I want a much bigger print. All right, so let's go on to the next thing, which is talking about Apple Pay. All right, so we've had some speculation on the channel about Apple potentially getting into the crypto game. All the puzzle pieces are there for them to have Apple Pay on their device, basically turn that into a crypto wallet, basically allow exchange directly, natively on the device, all that kind of stuff. Haven't seen anything develop out of that just yet, but one pretty cool intermediate step is BitPay, adding Apple Pay integration. So if you're not familiar with BitPay, basically it's a, let's see here. It's basically a crypto payment solution for, like basically a crypto credit card where you can spend your crypto. And it's really easy to onboard with BitPay. And now you have Apple Pay integration directly into your device. So this is not, the pie in the sky solution that we are hoping for, potentially to see Apple get a name. We don't know if that's going to happen for sure, but this is an exciting intermediate step. Not everybody's big on, linking their card with a cryptocurrency like this. If you're totally wanting to get off grid, this is not the way to go necessarily. But for people who are more casual users of cryptocurrency, don't care as much about that, are interested in using crypto as payments, maybe they just want to do it with stable coins, something like that, and this is a pretty exciting alternative. All right, so let me see if I can jump into some questions here in the chat. Somebody said my Newport chart was from 2020. But I might have pulled up the wrong Newport chart. Oh, actually, yeah, I did. Let's look at I looked at the wrong Newport chart. That's a good call, everybody. I pulled up the wrong Glassnode account. Yeah, we'll fix the Newport chart here. We'll come back to that later. I need to sign up for a different Glassnode plan or log in my different account here. All right, so let's see here. So I talked about Alpha and the Iron Bank ice. Yes, I did. That was the thing I just talked about here. So best place to create NFTs. So there are different places you can do that. You can, yeah. So the other thing I want to talk about is we are going to do the NFT Masterclass coming up on February 24th, I believe is the date. Let me pull that up. So for people who are, jumping in this space, want to create their own NFTs, we're going to have a full, solution for that. Basically smart contracts, website, ability for people to purchase these. So I made a video about that. I've got another one coming out pretty soon. But if you want to learn how to launch your own NFT step-by-step on the mainnet, you won't have to be an advanced coder to learn how to do this. All right. I'm basically going to give you the solution, show you how to set it up. As long as you can follow technical, as long as you're mostly technically inclined, you can follow instructions, you can do this too. There's lots of different ways to do it. You can also do like Nifty Gateway to create your own NFTs on a side chain. You can draw them in the browser, mint them. There's lots of different solutions out there. But some people want their own website, like if they're digital artists or something like that, to create something like a hash mask. Um, yeah, that's pretty cool. That's what I'm going to show you how to do there. It'll be a little bit different from just going to a website, minting your own, and then distributing them that way. So let's see here. So we got some more questions in the chat. Somebody's Rary. Yep. Rary is a cool tool for NFTs for sure. Should I sell altcoins for ETH? No comments. It's pretty cool information about NFTs. Yeah, NFTs are big. There's also a tweet that came out the other day. I'll pull this up on my screen here, talking about how NFTs could potentially be one of the largest crypto asset classes. So I'm going to pull that up, give you my thoughts on that, because I think it's plausible, and I'll explain why. So here we go. So 2017, NFTs will never be valuable. 2018, NFTs will never be adopted. 2019, NFTs will never be liquid. 2020, they have early product market fit. 2021, they're very liquid. 2022, they're the largest crypto asset class. So, yeah, and then the first comment here is NFTs are they still laughed at us stage. All right. So here's the thing you have to think about NFTs. It's not just about digital artwork. It's not just about collectibles. It's not just about crypto Pokemon cards, basically, or Pokemon cards. NFTs can do a lot more than just that. All right. You can use, really, NFT stands for a non-fungible token. This is just a token that, a token that is non-fungible. So a fungible token is any token that can be interchanged for another token of the same value. One Bitcoin can be changed for another Bitcoin. Doesn't matter which one you have. That's fungible. So non-fungible means you can't necessarily exchange either one. All right. Each token matters because there's a hierarchy of value. So you can do that to represent digital collectibles. You can do it to represent artwork. You can also do it to represent all kinds of things: software licenses, insurance contracts, medical records, like lots of things where you just have to store data on a blockchain and associate it to something that's digitally scarce and a valid digital source of truth. There's lots of different things you can create NFTs for. It's the scarcity isn't necessarily the only thing, the only value, the benefit behind it. Part of it's just a digital record. So it's very possible that NFTs could be bigger than cryptocurrencies themselves because of their wide application beyond just artwork, beyond collectibles, beyond stores of value. Yeah, it'll be, and it's hard to say. Some people would say, hey, maybe the other things that I'm talking about, like software licenses, medical records, maybe we need some other cryptographic model for those types of things. Maybe NFTs aren't the right fit. That's also possible. But yeah, we'll wait and see. Gas fees too high now, so frustrating. Totally. I feel you 100%. There's no easy solution to this in the short term. Layer 2 scaling solutions are basic, they're basically here. It's just a matter of them getting plugged into other applications and also tweaking do some fine tuning before it's ready for prime time. The other thing is like, where are you gonna go? There's only so many other options, right? Even if you go to some place that boasts of marginally superior technology in the short term, a lot of them don't actually have all the features out of the box, and a lot of them don't even have anywhere near the liquidity or applications or users built on top of them for you to interact with. It's just a real growing pain that sucks to be in the middle of right now, but there's no magic solution. Somebody says I need a MetaMask for NFTs. Oh, I'm assuming they mean to buy them. Yes, probably. You need some Ethereum cryptocurrency for most NFT purchases. Well, if you're buying them on Ethereum, you need Ether in your wallet to pay gas fees, even if you're buying an NFT with an ERC20 token. Any news about gaming industry and blockchain? I don't have any big gaming news off the top of my head. I'll keep an eye out on that. Gaming is definitely one area that I think we could see a lot of blockchain adoption. It's one area that I honestly want to pay more attention to. I think part of the natural reason that I don't see as much news about gaming is I'm not a huge gamer. I'm pretty interested in finance, and so I naturally sort of like notice the things that are happening in terms of financial applications. And I'll do better to pay more attention to gaming. I'll put it that way, because I think there's a lot of upside potential there long term. I'm just not a huge gamer myself, so sometimes the big breakthroughs that happen even in those areas, I miss them because I'm not huge into gaming. So is NFT akin to a QR code, or can it be used as such? That's a good question. So really a QR code is sort of like a physical hyperlink. Think about it that way. So that's kind of what they were intended to do, or like a barcode, right? So think about, you see a link on a website and you can click on it. Well, you have to be sort of already in the digital realm in order to do that. You have to be on a computer or a mobile phone, or any kind of device that has a hyperlinking built into it. Okay. But a QR code basically takes that to the physical world, where you see a hyperlink to a digital place printed on a physical location, and you use a digital device to get there. Now that could link you to an NFT, right? Could link you to owning an NFT. It could, there's lots of things you could do with that, but I don't know that you would call an NFT. I don't know that NFT and QR code are perfect analogies for one another, but you could use them together. So how can an NFT be more adaptable? I'm not sure if it's adaptable or adoptable. As far as NFT adoption goes, gas fees are probably one of the biggest things holding it back, in my opinion. I think moving to, layer 2 is going to help a lot with that. Inside the NFT Masterclass, we're going to talk about side chains as a current way to issue NFTs for much cheaper. So one thing you have to think about side chains, one of the reasons you might think like, hey, why don't we just use side chains for everything, right? If they're faster, if they're cheaper, why wouldn't we just do that for everything? Well, part of it is because of the security, okay? They're inherently less secure, but that's okay for small amounts of value, okay? So if you have an NFT that's worth $1 or not even worth anything really, let's say your NFT is just a concert ticket, or even if your NFT is worth a few $1,000s, right? It's okay to store that value on a side chain because it doesn't matter as much. Now, if you're talking about 7 figures worth of cryptocurrency, you don't really want to be floating that over necessarily to a side chain, start doing less secure transactions. That's the idea. So somebody says, can I explain gas fees? This will be my last question here, then I jump out for today. So on Ethereum, in order to create a transaction, you have to pay gas. So there are multiple examples of transactions. If I want to send you just Ethereum cryptocurrency, that's a transaction. Just sending Ether from my account to yours, that's a simple transaction. If I want to send an ERC20 token, that's a transaction. I send you the token, plus I pay a gas fee in Ether to do that. If I want to trade a token on Uniswap, that's talking to a smart contract. That's a more complex transaction that does a lot of stuff behind the scenes. If I'm swapping the token for another token, DAI for Aave, there are 3 tokens involved: DAI, Aave, and Ether. There's always Ether involved whenever you're creating transactions on top of Ethereum. So the Ether goes to pay the gas fee in that swap. The gas fee is basically a fee paid to run the network. It prevents spam on the network. If you had a blockchain that was just free, it would be littered with spam. Okay. But blockchain is basically a pay-to-play system. That's why finance is such a natural fit. Anytime you create a transaction and write data to the chain, you're paying a fee. On Ethereum, as it is right now, that fee goes to a miner who's mining the transaction and integrating it into the chain. Okay. So now the gas fees are expensive right now. It's one of the biggest hangups for cryptocurrency or for DeFi adoption, for blockchain technology adoption on top of Ethereum. The gas fees are high for 2 reasons. One is gas fees. So anytime you do a transaction on Ethereum, gas is the unit of cost. So gas is not the Ethereum amount or the Ether amount. It's just a computational cost represented in units of gas. You can think about it like gallons of gas you have to put in your car. If you want to drive 100 miles, it always takes you, 5 gallons of gas or whatever it is, right? If you want to trade a token on Uniswap, it's always going to cost you, 100,000 units, whatever it is, right? So you take that and you multiply the gas cost. So the current gas cost, you can think about like the price of gasoline today. If you go and fill up your car with gasoline, it's going to cost you, $3 a gallon, whatever it is. Okay. Tomorrow it's $4 a gallon. It's back down to $2, whatever it is, right? That's a pretty high swing for gas, but that's the idea. Same thing on the Ethereum network. It's based on demand. So whenever you go pay for a transaction, today it's 100 Gwei. Tomorrow it's 500 Gwei because cryptocurrency prices are crashing and arbitrage bots are like trying to, gobble up the, bring the markets into efficiency. That's based on network demand. Okay. So gas gets expensive and more people want to use the Ethereum network. And then you multiply that by the Ethereum price or the price of Ether. And those 2 factors are why gas is extremely expensive and why Ethereum is expensive to use right now. People talk about Ethereum fees being bad for the network in the short term. It is bad in the sense that it's preventing smaller users from using the network. It makes the technology look bad in the first place. Because there's no magic solution to it. But part of the reason the fees are high is because people do want to use the network. If nobody wanted to use it, the gas prices would tank. So it's counterintuitive, but that's basically how it works. So it's kind of a long explanation, but yeah, that's the gist. All right, everybody, that's all I got for today. I hope you all like this video. Smash that like button down below. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. That really helps these videos out so more people can learn about blockchain. If you're as fascinated with this technology as I am, you want to get started today, then how can you do that? Well, you can go to my YouTube homepage. You can find any of my free courses. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. I'll show you that here. Basically, scroll down here. You can look at the free blockchain development courses, learn how to build your first blockchain application app step by step. You can watch any of the student success stories who have gone on to change their careers, become blockchain developers in a relatively short amount of time. You like those videos? You want to take the next step? Or hey, maybe you want to take a master shortcut entirely? I can show you how to become a blockchain master step by step over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. Like I said, you don't have to be an expert to get started today. I thought people with 0 coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. All right, so that's all I've got. Until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.